Alright, hi, and welcome to Everything's Fine, a game where everything is not fine. What you're about to see is kind of a half-finished game, but it's got a lot of cool things in there I want to show off, and because I have a new setup, I can actually show you what's going on behind the scenes. So without further ado, I'll just hop into it right now. And I'll make it a little bigger so you can actually see what's going on. So this is my title screen. It's a work in progress. I just needed to set it up in order to make sure that all the scenes were changing appropriately, but it's just a placeholder. So you hit new game. The game starts right in the first level. There's an overworld to this, but I figured just for the sake of getting right into the action, you can actually just jump right into the game. So it's basically a walking simulator with stealth elements. So you walk around, you can crouch down, you can go peek behind a corner, peek around, go over this corner, see what's over there. And so the context for the game is you're a guy trying to run around and do his errands during like the 16th wave of COVID. And so COVID at this point has turned everyone into basically zombies. So you're going to go to a bunch of very different locations in order to collect some random items. So right here, you have to collect this Xbox that's right there. But in order to get there, because there's glass, you have to go around a long way, and that's going to put you in the path of a couple zombies. So I'll show you the zombies right now, because I'm pretty happy with how they turned out, because they kind of look like they're inside out. So this is our buddy right here. He's still breathing. I didn't do the animations for this. I just looking for an animation of a guy just lying down. But the fact that he's still breathing kind of lets you know that he's still alive, and that he's going to be an issue later. But yeah, it just turned out really gross. I can actually get you a better view of that with this guy. So this is when I was actually, I imported the animations, but for the actual model, I used a base model of, which one was he? I think he was Zombie Agonizing. This guy. So you can kind of see the mannequin guy right here. I'll just move mine to the side for a bit. So starting with this model, I just chopped off his head so I can make my own COVID version of his head. And then, I retextured his body, so I didn't need that whole mannequin thing. He also had these little seams all over the place. So I had to go in there and just kind of remove all the seams so he still looked kind of like a human being. I think I could have left the seams in there because I don't think you'd really notice, because you see this guy, you don't really see too much of his detail because the game's still a little bit dark. Like the final game is probably not going to be as dark as this. Like you need to actually be able to see where the zombies are, and to make it a little easier, these glowing red parts that don't have too much detail into them, the plan is to give them kind of like pulsating effect, so it's like a heartbeat. So you'll just see like the glowing red in the distance and let you know that there's danger nearby. And then the teeth kind of came out pretty nice too. Because I kind of downloaded a bunch of animations that do the general idea of what I want, I still want to do like facial expressions, so I added some bones in for the actual guy's teeth. And I'll show you right now. So I think what I can do is, because I added some bone, like this is the bone structure right here, this is, I can have this whole skeleton. But I could actually add in more bones in addition to that, so I can actually grab him and make his mouth move around. So the idea is I'm going to animate that separately, and then I'm going to try to overlay that on top of the original animations that are playing out. So he's doing his thing, like, which animation is this? So he's doing the little grab animation. And so while he's doing the grab animation, I can use my own custom mouth animations on top of that. Or at least I will. That's the plan anyways. But it'll just make it so he emotes a little bit more, because right now it's just a static mouthpiece that just doesn't really move, or well, it just doesn't move. But other than that, that's the zombie. We'll get back to him in a second. The only thing I want to show off here is that it kind of looks like an electronics store now. I put up a bunch of signs, and there's TVs, and the one thing I came, just because I was bored on a Sunday, is you can actually interact with the phones now, and you'll be able to interact with more things over time. You can just kind of throw the phones around. This is the dumbest feature I've ever implemented. It actually does do stuff, so you pick up any phone you want, like you see the phone on the ground, you just pick it up. Go up to a TV over here and just knock that down. Right? I don't usually put physics in game because the objects, when they fall down, there's oftentimes they'll just fall right through the map. And so the actual items you need to beat the game, they won't have physics attached to it, but these stuff, like you can just kind of screw around and move things around. With the phone itself, it seems like a little basic thing, but there's actually 3 phones going on right now. So when you go up and actually pick up a phone, there's a display phone, so you can see your hand that's picking up the phone. When you throw it, that's a phone, and then when it actually hits something, it spawns a completely different kind of phone that you can actually pick up. And the only reason I'm saying it like that is because it was kind of complicated. Initially, I was going to have an idea where you just throw a bottle and just makes a noise. But, and I mean, this phone does as well. So if we go up here, you can kind of see the little zombie guy in the background. If I get too close, he'll try to eat me, so he's just walking around doing his thing. He's not having a good time. So you throw the phone, he'll actually investigate points of interest. So if I dictate like something makes a sound, I can say have that zombie go and investigate it. So I'm gonna have some fun with that later. I'm gonna have some traps. So if you accidentally knock over a bottle, it'll make a noise, and then that'll attract the zombie. But there's already a couple glitches here already, so you can see if I go up to this purple phone and I pick it up, now it's a white phone. Oh, you got me. So I should explain what the hell just happened there. So that was the knockout animation. So you see in the top left corner of the screen, there's the red bar that represents your health, and then the yellow bar is kind of your stamina. So you can kind of run around a bit. And if you run for... Oh, he's already back up. If you run for too long, you see that red bar, so you have a little recovery period where you move a little bit slower. So it just kind of encourages you to keep your eye on your stamina meter while you're running around the map. And the little bug here is if I push shift, he'll start losing stamina even though he's not actually moving. So that's something I have to code in later. But I'll show that animation one more time. So basically, to make game overs a little bit more fun, like this game is just you navigate to a point, you grab an object, and then you go and you escape the map with it. And then the thing that's in your way is obviously these zombies guys that will go and they'll try to grab you all the time. So to make it a bit more fun, rather than just a game over screen, what happens is he'll grab you, and if he succeeds, it temporarily gets rid of all the enemies and the player off the map, and then plays a custom animation, which you saw right there, where he kind of punches the guy out. And then when it re-enables, the player comes back into place, and all the enemies will come back into place as well. And then the main enemy will be replaced by the guy who falls down. So right now, I'll just go ahead and let him kill me, so I'll show you what's going on here. So he grabs me, plays a little animation, gets knocked out, and then you start the map over again. The idea here was, because of the health system, now it's not an automatic game over when you die. So you have like kind of like basically just two chances. So you grab once, you knock the guy out, he's going to be down for like 10 to 30 seconds. And it just gives you a second chance to actually complete the level without, automatically having to start over again and again, which could get a little tedious. So I'll show you that punching animation just because I didn't quite lead into that. So you see right here, oh crap, his reach goes a lot farther than it's supposed to. Just because I replaced the model, so I worked on the actual characters, or the zombie model for a while. Just because the original version of him didn't look super awesome. I'll show you what the actual original zombie looked like. Was right in prefab. Oh no, it was in church assets. Church models, COVID man. So you see right here, this is version 1.0 of the zombie. He's a stick figure and he's got the same sort of zombie head. The idea was the original game was supposed to be a low poly version. It wasn't supposed to have that much detail. When I say low poly, it's like something like this. So there's not a lot of detail, but it uses colors and kind of gives, it's kind of like impressionism. But as I was working on the game and adding more things into the map, I kind of wanted to make it look a bit more realistic. So even though it might not be like the most believable zombies in the world, it still looks a lot better than I think the low poly version would have. But the low poly version was a lot bigger, so this everything in the map was kind of scaled up in order to accommodate that. So now these monsters are proportioned a little bit better, a bit more like a normal human being. So now everything in the universe kind of looks a little bit too big. But so that's just something I got to work on a little bit later. And the other idea I had for this level is with the phones, because you can pick up a phone and just kind of knock down a TV. I was thinking maybe you should be able to pick up the TV and break the glass, and then you can just kind of jump through here and skip the level entirely. But because this is supposed to be a tutorial level, like you can die in this level, but it's going to be difficult. But I'll show you what I mean. I'll get to him. So you can kind of just run past him here because I moved up the player's speed in order just for testing purposes. So you run around all through this map, and then you finally get to the nice Xbox, and you pick it up, and boom! Now I have the thing that I need. I need to bring this all the way back to the exit again. But the thing that's changed in the map now is that buddy who was just lying down a little while ago, now he's gotten back up. So now I have to dodge through 2 zombies in order to get to the end. But again, it's not... So yeah, he's doing his thing right over there. He behaves basically the same way. Oh crap, he's right there. Their vision cones, I can show you right now. So the way their sight works a little differently than the last game I made. The last game, there was you trying to avoid your manager, and he had a very intricate system for being able to detect you, whereas these zombie guys, I was intending to have a lot more of them. So what they do is, there's buddy number 1 who's chasing me, and then there's me right there, I'm the little white ball. So if we get to this guy, and then we open up his collider, which is right there. Okay, so this big green cone right here kind of represents his vision, and you see it kind of extends a little bit backwards. So once the player enters that cone of vision right here, this giant capsule shape, the monster will start drawing a line between his eye line and the player's position, and so then if it makes that connection and says, okay, that's the player, then it'll start chasing him. And that's just to avoid the monster being able to see through walls. You have to do a little raycast. But he's got a pretty generous cone, but it's not too overpowered. So the idea is if you're in there and you're in full sight, then he starts chasing you, because that's kind of like the main gameplay thing here is that you get chased and then you start panicking. You have to wonder, do I retreat? Do I go forward? You can actually, the monsters will get bored after a while. If you break line of sight for like 5 seconds, then they'll go away. But the idea is they're going to be more and more zombies as the game goes on. That's going to be trickier to avoid them. But I'll just jump into it because there's actually more maps than what I'm showing here. And I know that guy's still right behind me. And I'm lost. And there's the second guy. And yeah, now they're both on top of me. So this level, you know, you're just trying to avoid zombies. You're in a very confined space. Oh, he's got me. But it's okay because I still have 50% health. And that guy's going to move away. He's just flying away. The animations need some work still. But yeah, that's basically the electronics store. It's loosely based on a Best Buy. And I was trying to think of like things that you'd expect to find in a electronics store, and all I could really think of was like cell phone, TV, maybe a laptop. I don't know. I started putting up clearance signs, made a nice little exit sign. But anyways, we'll go and escape the map. And then this is what I would call the overworld. So initially the game was going to be like a small town, and you drive around in a truck and you go from point to point as you go and do all your errands. And so this overworld is kind of like a downbeat. So when you're in an actual level, you're being chased by zombies, you're peeing yourself because you're so scared. So when you actually finish the level and you come back to the overworld, it's kind of like a little downbeat where you can kind of catch your breath, and it kind of looks like Silent Hill. I really like how this the church turned down, but and then the sky's kind of cool. So the stars are actually blinking in and out of existence because I'm using a particle system. They're just a bunch of multicolored squares, but I thought the effect came across kind of nice. And then the little moon's just a giant ball. But the reason there's so much friggin' fog is because I kind of had to show the player where the boundaries are. So there's actually invisible walls. If you get too close to the edge, it'll just stop you. And it's kind of lame. I was trying to think of like what a more creative version of putting up a wall would be, but there's just nothing that really made sense. Like the idea is this guy just drove into town and now he's just running around doing his errands. You know, I think that the fog kind of conveys what I was trying to go for. I'm still working on this area. The only thing that was really complicated here was actually just assigning a texture to a model. So this street is actually multiple pieces of the same like straight and narrow piece of road. I just combined them together in order to create this T intersection, and then the actual T intersection is its own separate piece as well. So creating a model where I say, okay, so this part is the asphalt, and then this part's the sidewalk part, and then I just kind of stretch the UVs in order to make sure that the sidewalk actually looks quasi-believable. But then I also had a picture of a bunch of street signs, or what you'd expect to see on a road, and I overlaid them on top of the actual asphalt. But that turned out to be actually quite a process because I put them over top of each other in Blender, and then I had to bake them all together to make its own separate picture, and then I overlaid that picture back on top of the street back in Unity. It was a process, and I mean the overall result, like I think it's fine. Like having the little white lines on the road kind of sells the effect a little bit better, I think. But it took an awkwardly long time in order to pull it off. And then I think over here I just need some like street signs or something. Some cars on the road. I don't actually know what I'm doing with this corner over here. I was like, maybe a church parking lot. I was actually thinking of putting up a basketball net so you'd have something to mess around with between missions. You could just go over here and throw a basketball. Maybe there'd be a health kit or something like that so you can get another free hit in before you die. But the second location is the grocery store. And because I spent most of the time on the electronics shop, the level of detail is about to drop dramatically. But we'll just go in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the grocery store. That's my fruit kiosk, which is way too big and probably going to change in the final version. But these vending machines, freezers came out kind of nice. So I had a picture of the exterior of a store, and I just took that picture and I stretched it out over top of basically all these freezers, and then I used an emission map in order to make it actually glow a little bit more. So even though the level's going to be super dark, you can see there's like it almost seems like there's lights inside the freezers. But anyway, so the idea with this level is you have to pick up 3 things instead of just 1 thing. And every time you pick up a thing, another zombie gets spawned into the map. So you see there's a guy over there, and there's another guy over there. And so you have to pick up 3 things, so there's going to be 3 more guys. So this area is about to get a lot more crowded as you get through the mission. And then because I didn't set up the actual death animations on this level, if I get caught, it's just going to break everything. So there's 1 thing, so I can think of like what you grab. So I just had 3 jars of pickles, and hopefully that's pretty obvious, like, hey, what's a jar of pickles? And it's like, it's that thing right there. You have to pick up that thing. But anyways, you pick up 3, and then now there's a zombie down there, and there should be one behind me. So the idea with this level, he already sees me. Crap. The idea with this level is that you'd be weaving in and out of these freezers, and then around any corner could be another zombie, because you don't know where they're coming from. I mean, they'll make noise. There's not a lot of sound effects in this game yet because I haven't made them yet. But once you grab all three, he's just not going to leave me alone. Once you grab all three, then you can actually just make your way to the actual exit. And so I figure because there's so many zombies, most players are going to be trying to sprinting their way there. So, you know, I put a zombie deliberately right beside the exit. Ah, he's stuck. Come get me, buddy. And so I'm just going to escape real quick. But that was the idea behind the grocery store. There's obviously I got to put more stuff in there, some debris, some stuff. Just to make the level a bit more interesting, and you know, add some more things to throw in. I was gonna put in some empty shells, maybe have some loaves of bread you can throw around to distract the enemies. So you just kind of like lure them out of the way so you can grab your pickles and get out of there. Level 3 is gonna be a little bit different tone and pace. So this is the one. This is the last level I made, and it's the least amount of effort put into it. So the idea is it's gonna be like in a retirement home or an apartment building. You're here to like pick up a pack of smokes or something like that. So the doors don't actually work as of yet, but the idea is, you know, you come in here, you're going to walk through the door, and then it's going to burst open, and you're going to see a zombie come going and screaming and run down the hallway. And the idea is that now you got to follow down that hallway because you're looking for room 208 or something like that, so it's on the second floor. So you won't be able to actually go in these doors yet, but you'll just be making your way down. It'll be kind of like a haunted house where the doors are vibrating. You're not sure which door the zombie's going to burst out of, or if the zombie's going to burst out. But you get the sense that there are zombies in this level. So you just kind of slowly make your way through the hallways, just to get a feel for the level. And if you've ever played a video game before, you know the goal is right at the end there. And so just like every other level, once you get to the objective and you pick it up, then that's when all hell breaks loose. So same thing happens here. You pick up the thing. Yeah. And then what happens is now the zombies have been spawned on the map, so all the doors are going to burst open. Now there's going to be a bunch of monsters running around. So now you have to kind of sneak your way out. You know, peek your head out. So the zombie, and he just stays in the main hallway, and he's just to show you, he's like, oh no, there's a zombie in the hallway, what should I do? You go into the side doors, and then you'll be able to weave through like holes in the walls and stuff like that. Move objects out of the way in order to kind of navigate your way through, just to get to the other half of them. Like I said, his vision code is not the most generous thing in the world. His like peripheral vision, he's just mostly straightforward. But, and then until you get to the staircase, and you come down. So the second part's a little bit harder. There's actually 2 zombies in here, and their thing is they're going to weave in and out of the doorways. So you're going to be trying to, like, take the sneaky approach around the side, but then there's monsters going to show up randomly, and you never know when they're going to pop in. So alternative, you can probably just sprint right down the hallway. So one of the things I'm going to add is, like, a speed trap, so just areas that don't really do damage to this slow you down a bit and make you uncomfortable. So if you try to take the most direct path, then you're more likely to get busted by one of these zombies. But we're just going to run for it. Ah, there he is. Yeah, that's everybody. Just go to the door. Get out of here. Alright, we can go. And then, so obviously there's a lot more work to be done to try to really sell where the actual exit is. But yeah, not a ton of work. And then I think the other thing I'm going to do for the second part of this level is just turn off the lights and make it so you have to look through a flashlight the entire time. Just make it really claustrophobic feeling. And then finally we got to the big climax of the game, which is the church area. We have to get the last item. So you come in here, so this was the first area I worked on, so this is when I had the low poly zombies, and that's why everything looks really massive compared to what the zombies actually look like, because the zombies are only 2 meters tall, and I think before they used to be like 3 meters tall, and they had the huge bulbous heads. And so the idea with this level, which was the inspiration for the entire game, was you'd be crouching in and out of these pews, so you want to get to the altar up above there, so you keep your head down, you just peek around the corners, and then you just kind of weave in and out, and then there'll be fire and stuff burning down, maybe some pillars would actually fall down and stuff like that. And then it'd be a boss monster at the head of the church there, who'd be firing at you with a sniper rifle when you get too close. So that just kind of keeps your head down, so you can't really see where the zombies are, but you're safe from the gunfire. So every once in a while, you're going to want to poke your head up, see, okay, there's a monster over there, I should probably go back over here, and just kind of duck and weave your way all the way through it. And that would kind of be the boss encounter. So I'm still working on the actual story of the game, clearly. I don't actually know what I'm going to do for a boss monster, just someone shooting stuff at you. But there was a few things I tried out on this level that's probably not going to be in the final game, so I can just show them off here. So this was the original idea for the bottle. So it has a very generous throw distance. So if I throw that, that will upset every zombie in the map. Or not. Oh yeah, no, he's going. No, I'm lying. That's probably broken. Oh wait, yeah, I can see in the bottom left corner there's an error message going off, so things have changed in this game. And obviously I've worked on this area the least since I originally made it. But yeah. And then the other thing was a melee weapon. So there is melee attacks in the game, but like I said, I'm going to take that out just because it doesn't really serve a purpose. It kind of just encourages you to attack the monsters when really I'd rather you try to avoid them, which is the idea is that you're sneaking around these zombies because you're trying not to see them. But yeah. Still, it's kind of fun trying to implement that, even though it was a massive waste of time because it's not going to be in the final game. But yeah. So yeah, that was basically the game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with hopefully a more finished version of this.